Welcome to Deeply Disturbing Things.
The podcast.
I'm Macy.
And I'm Naomi.
And this is Vulcan. And we are two anxious counselors and a bulldog here to talk to you about deeply disturbing things.
Let's dive in. Oh, that was a cute yawn he just did. That was like good timing.
He talks, he grunts, and he goes, mm-hmm. So if I'm like, how are you doing? Is that food? Is it good? Did you enjoy that intro? Mm-hmm. And they're just gonna bite me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now. Uh-huh. I don't know, but it's ridiculously cute.
All right, you just did a last minute topic change.
I did like immediately.
I'm excited to
based on our
learn
check-ins.
something.
If you're not a Patreon, become
Then
one.
what are you? I guess.
I mean, we just had the talk about, does the dog think you're real? And if the dog doesn't think you're real on the computer, are you? It's debatable, really. So
debatable.
Your check-in made me just randomly think about this book.
Okay.
This is now going to be our deeply disturbing things topic.
What book is it?
It is called, now first let me tell you, this is, let's see if I can give you the year first. Published in New York, and it was in 1969.
Okay.
Important number.
Summer of Love.
The topic is everything you've always wanted to know about sex, explained by Dr Reuben, MD, but we're afraid to ask.
Oh.
In 1969.
Yeah, this is when, people were feeling sexually liberated.
Well, and 69.
Doing it all over.
I don't know if that was on purpose or not.
Oh, the publication year?
Yeah.
It's good timing if it wasn't.
The dedication is to my wife, Barbara, whose love and understanding has brought me happiness beyond all expectations.
That's really sweet.
It's real sweet, right? Okay, so this book was given to me kind of an offhand, like, oh, hey, this is kind of funny because there's some outdated stuff. Like, what do you mean outdated stuff? And then I read it, and
I'm a little leery that it's written by a guy, and like, what is he gonna be saying about women? Yeah, is it gonna be accurate, or like how?
No, it's not. I'll just rip that Band-Aid off.
How forthcoming is Barbara? Like, is Barbara filling him in?
Well, I'm like, he must. I know when you open it and you're like, he has a happy marriage. Great.
But Barbara may be faking it.
And he says in this acknowledgments, this book is not based solely on his own personal experience. So he just wanted that to be known. It is to a certain extent a reflection of the combined experiences of several thousand patients who have entrusted him with the responsibility of treating their emotional difficulties.
What kind of doctor?
It's a MD.
But like, what's his specialty?
It's a great, it just says MD. So
like, why is it all up in the business, the sex life business of his patients?
Right.
Like, is he that kind of doctor, or?
I mean, I don't think so. I think in 1969, if you were a doctor, you were the doctor.
Like a generalist.
Yeah, like, oh, you have heart disease.
People are just coming to him with
emotional problems. Come on in. I'm sitting here with peanuts and a bulldog reading an outdated book about sex, so it's pretty good.
It's a good day.
Sunday. Right. Okay. He makes a great book rest on his head.
Sunday fun.
All right. So I'm going to read off to you, since this is so on the fly, I'm going to read to you the content sections, and we can kind of bounce around at our leisure. It's all pretty great.
Let's bounce.
So there's Beyond the Birds and the Bees. It's right at the beginning.
Okay.
Male sexual organs.
Oh.
Female sexual organs.
Are there pictures?
I do believe there are.
Graphs? Charts?
No, there are. Okay, now
diagrams?
Sexual intercourse.
Oh.
Aphrodisiacs. impotence, frigidity,
Oh God, I'm already mad.
a whole chapter on frigidity,
I'm already upset.
ma- male homosexuality.
Oh, outdated term.
Yep. Yes, by the way, their words, not mine, throughout this whole thing. This whole thing is not my take. Please, by all means, have at Mr.
What was it?
MD.
What was his name again?
David Reuben, like the sandwich.
Reuben. So he's probably Jewish. I mean, I'm just
uh,
making assumptions based on the name. And I'm Jewish, so I can do that.
it's your biased assumptions.
Yeah.
Masturbation,
Oh,
sexual perversion,
uh-oh.
birth control,
Okay. I think
prostitution,
the pill was out then.
and prostitution, also outdated sex work, abortion, venereal
Oh.
disease,
I mean, honestly, it was probably kind of ahead of its time
probably
with just like
the
talking
topic.
about things like this out in the
Oh yeah, and
open.
it's very forthright.
What
venereal
do you know if it
venereal
was like
disease.
popular?
I have no idea. No idea.
Like, was it a bestseller?
I'll look that up in a minute. In a pause, like the menopause chapter.
Oh,
And then chapter 16 is September sex.
what does that mean?
And that's it. So those are our chapter
What does
choices.
September sex mean?
I don't know. I will have to see.
I mean, this is obviously going to be, I mean, other than the gay chapter, gay men chapter is going to be, you know, heteronormative,
So
cisnormative.
yes, this is all not just outdated, but terribly sexist and inappropriate.
But I mean, I don't want to ban books. I mean, we talked about banning books.
Yeah, no,
The
I actually like, and
second,
I view
like,
this as like a comical,
we
like
need to see
honestly,
how people thought at that time because it explained so much about cultural norms and also like how we
right.
got to where we are today. So I think it's important to have that stuff around to say, hey, this is how people were thinking in an edgy way in 1969.
Mhm. Right. Well, and I think
Of
it
course,
coming from the perspective of his patients too, or at least his perspective on his
having
patients.
questions.
Right. And so a lot of this is actually phrased, it's not written like a textbook, which I kind of actually just like. It has a lot of like question and then answer type thing.
Oh,
So
it's a Q&A.
all right. So where do we want to start?
Obviously, perversions.
I mean, who doesn't? So let's go here. Perversions. Oh gosh. Did that exist? Oh, sexual perversions. Yep, chapter 10, page
Yeah, I want to
170.
see what's considered a perversion versus
Right. That
how we would
I think
think
that
about
kind of
it
sets the
today.
tone for the whole thing, right? Is what if
Yeah, what's in, what's out, what's
right.
considered pathological, what's considered vanilla. I want to know.
Yeah, because we had our episode 69 that was about sex and orgasms, and
We
it was
planned that, or did that just happen as well?
that was my topic and I planned
You
it.
planned for that number? It wasn't a happy accident.
I mean, it wasn't like ahead of time planning. It was, oh, it's my topic and it's 69. You know, I'm not that creative, but yeah, okay. Um, sexual perversion. Here we go. What are sex perverts? That's the first question.
Oh,
Would you, I can read off either some question prompts and you can pick a prompt. How about that?
so are we thinking like a patient came in and said, what are sex perverts? And we're maybe
Right.
like worried about
Right.
themselves
Right.
being
I think it's
pervert.
kind of answered from that framework where he like explains it based on his experiences with and stories from his clients.
Well, maybe somebody was worried that they were a pervert and wanted
Right.
some kind of
And
clarification.
right. And I do think too, just to say that like he's an MD, he's a medical doctor, but saying that he specifically worked with emotional disturbances too. So that may be
He did it all.
So he said, anyone who isn't interested in the penis vagina version of sex is often considered a pervert and shunned by normal people.
Well, yeah, I mean, I
This
think
includes Exists exhibitionists, peeping toms, sadists, fetishists, masochists, and those with a similar taste. They are thought of as wild-eyed, drooling maniacs, lusting for an
Whoa.
innocent victim.
All these words.
But he said it just isn't that way. And then it says,
Okay.
why not? It does literally say, why not? And you just said
Why
that.
not?
Why not? Why not? Here we go. So I like that little intro because it's like, what? And then it's, wait, tell you more.
Those were a lot of words, though, that he was using
I know, it's
in rapid succession. I was like, whoa,
You know, it's like it's made to like slap you in the face.
That's how I felt. I feel slapped.
First of all, pervert is an unkind and loaded word. Thank you for 1969.
Thank you, Dr. Reuben.
It's a derogatory rather than purely descriptive word.
There's connotations.
A better word is a sexual variant. Okay, 1969.
Okay, we're like
for that era.
Understanding diversity.
Right, like a variant, kind of like a difference.
Yeah.
Okay. Sexual variants start out the same as everybody else. They just never grow up sexually. An average person advances from one stage of sexual development to another, while the variant gets stuck at a certain point in their sexual development and they don't move on from there.
Okay, so here's the judgment coming in.
Here's the Freud slipping in a bit. Okay, so
if you're more evolved, you're going to be doing the correct way, which is the penile vagina way.
Right. Sorry if you hear snoring.
No, I hear the snoring. I hear it.
The peeping Tom is a good example, he said. Everyone starts out sexually as a peeping Tom. Interesting take, really.
Wait, what? We all start out as peeping Toms?
Yeah, he said the only sexual activity available to small children, except for masturbation, is peeping or looking at other people sexually. At about the age of 3 or 4, little boys and girls become interested in each other's bodies. She's not wrong. That's the thing, right? The boys want to know how come girls don't have one, and the girls want to know the same thing. Even at this first tentative moment, sex is mysterious.
Oh, was that some penis envy right there?
Yeah.
So everybody's wondering why the girl doesn't have a
worried about the penis.
Why aren't the girls wondering why the boys don't have a vagina? Like, that's not in there.
Well, because they're not allowed to talk about that thing between their legs. Jeez, it's so loud right now. Okay.
It is really loud.
Mutual inspection of genitalia is the primary basis of childish games.
Yeah, you show me yours, I'll show you mine.
Playing doctor, he put in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. That is the thing that, oh my gosh, so loud.
This is real loud, Volcom. What is Volcom now?
What was that? I have no idea. I've been time coma. While mother is busy in the kitchen studying a new recipe, the children are busy in the playroom studying each other.
Ooh.
This is a normal part of sexual maturity. There's really nothing naughty about it. The childish pastime of you show me yours, I'll show you mine is the phase most.
Oh my God, I just said that literally. I could have wrote this book.
It soon gives way more to advanced peeping. At school, the boys watch the girls and the girls watch the boys. As puberty begins, sexual interest becomes more refined around breasts and later buttocks.
Buttocks?
Buttocks. Mm-hmm. In high school,
why does it start with the breasts and then second buttocks? Why does are there no ass men out there that are like?
I mean, 1969, it was kind of a flat butt, right?
Not everyone.
I don't know. Like in magazines, I think wasn't like Twiggy and all that was like the big thing.
Well, that was like one example. There's other shapes out there.
I'm sure there were other shapes.
This might have been Dr. Reuben's own preferences coming out.
Projection, yeah. Maybe
Dr. Reuben may have been a boob man.
Ultimately, observing the body of the opposite sex becomes part of the enjoyment of sexual intercourse. Opposite sex becomes part of the enjoyment of sexual intercourse. So basically, that's why looking at the body, everyone starts off as peeping Tom. So isn't everybody then a peeping Tom? No, the peeper gets short-circuited along the way. He said,
Wait, what does that mean?
peeping does not lead up to sexual intercourse. It stops right there. All he wants to do is look, almost.
Oh my gosh. Is he saying
And it
that
said, and then the
peeping
next
toms are kind of like
masturbate,
incels of today?
masturbate.
Like
His
they're not
sexual,
getting it, so they become pathological?
what else does he want to do? Masturbate. His sexual outlook is infantile and limited. He looks sexually aroused and masturbates. He makes no effort to go further. Doesn't that sound like the incel thing?
Yeah. And there was just a video posted that some lady caught a guy outside her window on her camera who was peeping in the window with the pants down. It's so violating.
So yeah, you just feel icky.
That's why you
Icky.
just want to put plywood on your windows at that point, I think.
Just walking. They're all zombies anyways. So some people devote tremendous energy to their hobby. They keep track of
Oh,
best,
tremendous energy.
right? They track where they go. So listen to an expert. Ralphie's a fry cook. He's 32 and never married. He doesn't go out with girls anymore. He went on a few dates when he was younger, but they made him nervous. He is thin, well dressed, and nervous. As he talks, his eyes dart about the room. Well, I don't know. I don't think there's any harm in it. I don't touch it, nobody. I just look. It ain't against the law. I mean, everybody's got a right to look, don't they? I
If
just
it
sit there and
actually is against the law, Robbie.
it is. Like
Maybe
on
it
the
wasn't
subway, for
then.
example. Huh?
Maybe it
Yeah.
wasn't then.
Like on the subway, for example, I know the right stops. I get on where all the girls from the offices get on. I just sit there. The train stops, they come in, they sit down, cross their legs. That's when you see it, when they cross their legs.
You see what?
Last,
It?
last summer, I even saw one without any panties on. So when they cross the
Robbie.
Robbie.
Rodney or Robbie?
Sorry, is Ralphie.
Ralphie. Oh,
Ralphie gets a little excited at
shame
this
on
point
you.
as he remembers what he's seen. So now he's getting excited as he's talking to Dr. Reuben. If Ralphie were in the second grade and was going through this, it would be pretty normal. However, he's 25 years old, too late for that.
25
Just
back
after,
then was basically 40.
right,
The
right.
40 of today.
He said, then after I ride around for an hour, I get pretty excited. So I go home and play with myself. And that's like the extent
So,
of his
I
sexual life.
mean, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Dr. Reuben may have provided the world with the first description of incels.
I agree. Well, and it says some people are more dedicated. So Arnold, for example, Arnold is a stockbroker. He's in his early 40s, was married for a year. And when he was 22, he said it just didn't work out. She was too immature. Now Arnold's going to describe his favorite technique. On the day the market is closed, I go to the public library. I go to the back stacks and pretend I'm looking for a book. I always poke around on the bottom shelf, which means I have to have my hands on my knees. Begin to get the idea. And when
Oh,
a girl comes along, she has to be a good looker. And then I swing into action. I kind of work my way over to her really slowly so she doesn't suspect anything. Then I get out my equipment. I have this little magnifying mirror and I hold it by her feet so I can look up her skirt and I get a
oh my
perfect.
God, upskirting was way back then.
For some reason, peepers love to get to refer to the object of their peeping in vague general terms. Like the entire situation is a good example. So like talking about the whole thing.
See, and I thought, who is this, Arnold now?
Yeah.
Arnie? I thought Arnie was referring to something different when he said, get out of my equipment. So that shows that my mind was in the gutter.
I was thinking like the popcorn scenario that I've heard. Never seen that in real life, but
Popcorn, what does that mean?
well, like the whole thing that like if a guy puts a hole in the end of
Oh, at the movie theater. Yeah.
I
You reach in and find more than popcorn.
don't even know where I've ever heard that before, but I don't feel like it would actually like work well.
I've heard it a lot. It just makes me think about salt burns.
Yeah, like where they getting the clean bucket from.
You
I
get a
like
kernel up there, you're going to
I
the
am
ER.
I would be really upset honestly, that my popcorn was ruined. I'd be really upset. Okay, so that was what's his face? Arnold?
Arnie.
No,
We had Ralphie, and then we had Arnie. These names.
So he said to get a really good look, I carry a pocket flashlight. I shine it on the mirror, it reflects up, and I get to see everything. Pretty scientific, huh? One of these days, I'm going to get me a little camera, and then I can take pictures. That really ought to be fun.
Like, what is he doing today? Like, how is this maybe progressed and evolved with new technology?
Most peepers like to look at live objects, and they find the risk of being caught very exciting.
Maybe he's behind hacking into webcams.
Right. After he goes home and he masturbates. Same thing as the other guy. So, okay, what about the ones that look at through windows? That's what you just said, right? The window one?
Yeah, I mean, that's, I think, the classic peeping Tom scenario.
He says these are the elite of the peeping fraternity.
Oh.
Himself. It is interesting he's talking about him as a group of people.
Yeah. I mean, maybe there's more risk or something to doing that.
He said that Ralphie and Arnold are amateurs compared. So, window peepers take big risks and get big thrills.
Oh my God, I could have wrote this book.
Crawling around someone's backyard at midnight is a risky thing to do. If the homeowner doesn't take a shot at them, the policeman might. If they get caught, they go to jail. This just adds to the thrill.
So okay. I guess let's break down that. Like wanting to get caught, like how is that?
Oh, what are the thrills?
A thrill. Like why is getting caught a thrill?
Here we go. He said, what are the thrills? And here we go.
Huh.
And this actually ties in with I was going to talk about like the psychological impact of gambling.
Oh.
And this actually, I just like glanced at. So looking at other human beings after they take off their clothes, window peepers hope to catch a glimpse of a naked woman. The age, physical attributes really aren't important. The other vital requirement is that she be a victim in the sense that her privacy is being violated, which we just said, like where you feel taken advantage of. Yeah. Window peepers are visual rapists. This is a vital part of their sexual gratification. I like that. Just
I like how it's very explicit. Like just say what it is.
Right, because that visual rapist, you are violating me. Like, why is that
in people's most private moments, you know?
Because there's so many times, and like that nothing happens. Do you remember that time at work where there's somebody in a trench coat? That happened a few years back. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
It was out on
trench coat flasher is classic. The streaker flasher.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, I forget. It was impacted an employee. Okay, so then he goes on to say, it's like, it says window peepers are usually visual rapists, blah, blah, blah. Otherwise, they would be content to sit in a burlesque house or a topless joint. Like, there's plenty of places to go if that was the thing.
So part of the trying not to get caught is part of the thrill.
If they hit the jackpot, they may be able to observe a man and a woman having intercourse. This is especially exciting because it gives them months of masturbatory fantasies. Erwin's case, he's a vice principal at a small bank. President, sorry, my bad. He is married unhappily. He has intercourse with his wife every month or so, and he would rather just peep. I don't know. There's something about sex that just isn't fulfilling. My last week, I saw something you could go a lifetime without seeing on 14th Street. I get over there about once a month. Like most serious peepers, he works on a schedule. He covers the entire town every 6 weeks. He varies his route to minimize trouble from the police. Like the strategy and the routine.
A lot of planning.
Right. Which I hadn't given that much thought. Didn't you have a peeping Tom topic?
No.
Or was it a man who was a peeping Tom that we talked about? There was this perfect setup, a girl with this guy in the living room. They're in front of a picture window so I could see everything. First, he undresses her real slow, and then she undresses him only fast because she's getting hot. You can tell. After peeping for 20 years, Irwin considers himself something of an expert on sexual response. Great. Okay. So drawbacks, Irwin had been arrested 11 times, convicted twice. I hit it really big one night. This babe was undressed in front of a mirror. I could see everything front and back. I got so excited. I couldn't wait till I got home. And then a police car went by. So there you go.
I don't think they always wait till they get home, though.
So I'm going to go ahead and pause there on peepers because there's quite a bit more on peeping. First of all, women can be peepers. Women do a lot of looking, but peeping in the real sense doesn't seem to be their style. What would be a dream come true to the average male peeper merely offends them.
I mean, I guess that's why they call it a peeping Tom and not a peeping Tina.
Mm-hmm. Right. So an exhibitionist is almost exclusively a male field too. And this is where they specialize in forcibly displaying their penises to women in public places.
No, I've had a lot of experience with this.
Oh, I think you're the one I was thinking of with this experience with this, but this is what it was. I
think at least 3 times in my life, I have, against my will or wanting to, saw somebody wanking their junk.
Right. I think I've had it once.
One was a car next to me at the red light. He was in a convertible, and I had like a jacked up rig I was driving, and that was like, so it was completely intentional that people see him. He wanted people to see him. Mm-hmm. And then once when I had my 3rd-story office downtown, I looked down and saw the same thing. So again, it was like somebody wanting to be seen. And then when I was in high school and I was waiting for the bus, I looked across the street and there was someone in the bushes whacking.
So, okay. So our first 2 categories are peeping Toms and exhibitionists. Now there's a part that says, is there anything wrong with them or with that? Aside from being naughty and in the moralistic sense of the word, it is hard to see how any harm is actually done. Certainly no one's virtues compromised. A 17-year-old virgin is not likely to be advertised like female photog model, experienced all poses, attractive. Peeper and exhibitionists both know what they're after. Is it fair to prohibit male exhibitionists and let women exhibitionists go unpunished? Probably not. But the laws that attempt to regulate sexual behavior was not passed in the atmosphere of fairness. Take the statutes concerning the outdated term transvestites, for example, which is the next one. Okay.
Would you agree with that?
Which part of it?
Like that,
I don't know what it is, honestly.
I mean, I guess in this chapter, it's not like masturbating in public. It's just flashing, it sounds like. Like, would you agree that there's nothing like harmful about
I liked better the visual raping comment. I think that you're violating privacy. Like if I'm in a place that is relatively private, like my house, like where you have to go out of your way to make it happen and you do, then yeah, you're violating my privacy. If I'm at Silverwood and the top of my swimsuit comes off and my boobs plop out and someone looks, that I don't think it would be the same thing.
Right. Because the intention's totally different.
Right. It was, and you may scar them. Right. It's not the intended hunt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Serial killer, but for visuals.
Yeah.
So there's trend. We can go into that one if you want, but there's also what is a fetish, which is the next one.
Yeah, let's go there. Kinks and fetishes.
Okay. Yeah, because honestly, the other one just feels really outdated.
Really outdated, yeah.
Well, sort of, actually. This one, actually, the person he talked to, he's a chemist, has 2 children, and he said, I'll never forget the day I first put on my special clothes. I was 17 and my mother was out that afternoon. Got me a skirt and a sweater. I stood in front of the mirror My wife is so understanding. She helps me shop for my new outfits. She has wonderful taste, especially in underwear. I used to have the most horrid under things, bloomers. Now I have the right things. Because I would really just be like, would that be cross-dressing now? Is that the current terminology?
I swear it's still transvestism in the DSM right now. You have one, right? Right there, the new one?
I do. Where do you say right there? Like, I do.
Oh, because
It is
I
right
don't
there.
have one here with me.
It is
The
actually
DR.
right there. It is right there.
Yeah, I swear it's in the section like
I don't like that word.
like distressing, and it's for people that are distressed by the fact that they want to do that.
Right, which is that. But that's again maybe part of the pathologizing it part
Yeah,
of where
yeah,
like this that's why I glanced, I'm like, this actually sounds like a positive experience. Um I don't oh my gosh, is it really in there?
yeah. Yes.
Transvestic disorder.
Something like that. Yeah,
The
it's
person, an individual experiences recurrent intense sexual arousal from cross-dressing, which they did talk about here. Dressing as the opposite gender in which the person urges to do so creates distress or impairment. Transvestic disorder is a rare diagnosis and is classified as paraphilia.
yeah, that's the chapter. That was the word I couldn't think of.
It can lead to depression, guilt, and shame because of the urge to cross-dress. But yeah, I mean, there's so many social stigmas around it that, of course, there's like guilt and shame that's going to be built up around it if that's something that you enjoy doing.
I think
And
that's totally problematic,
yeah,
along with a lot of the DSM.
hmm says sometimes people seek treatment because it interferes with their romantic relationships and marriages with women.
I mean, I think even diagnosing somebody with something that has that word is going to be stigmatizing in and of
Yeah,
itself.
I honestly just thought it was like an outdated, like I would never give someone that diagnosis ever,
Oh,
ever.
whatever.
Okay, so there's that, which means that like that's so outlandish to me that this book from 1969 has the same verbiage as our 2024 DSM diagnostic book and is literally describing it. Actually, this one at least has some client voice in it.
Yeah. Outlandish.
Outlandish. Okay, moving
People
on.
don't use that word enough. Thank you for using it.
You're welcome. Are transvestites homosexuals? Outdated word. Not necessarily. And so it actually goes through and breaks up the differences there. And not in a very, very negative way, honestly. Okay, so what is a fetish? It's a strong sexual attachment to an inanimate object or an isolated party of a person's body. People who engage in fetishes may be strongly aroused by articles of clothes, for example. So without these, so okay, so aren't many normal men like that? Do they have a fetish? The answer is no. A fetish is an arousal, even if the panties are empty. He usually prefers it that way. His sexual interest centers on the object, not the wearer. Okay. Okay. Fetishist favorites are feminine underthings, panties, bras, garter belts, girdles, and bikinis. Modish fetishes are stimulated by slips. They collect these items eagerly and are intimately acquainted with the qualities and advantages of certain brands. Okay. When do they wear these things? Usually they don't. It's more about a collection. Yeah, okay.
So this is like the person that steals pantyhose off the laundry line.
Right. And he goes on to say that most of this has to do with then masturbating, like with them or near them, sort of thing, not so much a wear it sort of deal. Do women have fetishes? It's very women to be sexually stimulated by an article of clothing. Okay. Maybe he didn't ask women.
Yeah, maybe Barbara wasn't forthcoming.
I just read in the start that he had Barbara type up the whole manuscript of the book.
So I feel like it's sort of a narrow definition of fetish. Like I always like thought, okay, yeah, that could be one aspect is like an object, but I think I've also included like certain acts that could be a fetish or a kink, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it says that, I mean, it does say there really is no limit to the number of items or the things that could be sexually attractive. So hair, odor, hands, jewelry, even a voice. But yeah, he's not saying like you're talking about like an action.
Like a certain act, like a golden
Like
shower, if you will.
right, like we had the talk about the
John McAfee.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Are these dangerous people? Hardly, he says. They are like timid children playing games. Since they cannot obtain gratification from grown-up sex, they get their stimulations from their trimmings, generally harmless folks.
But
In
I
spite
think
of,
people that have grown-up sex can also have fetishes. I don't
well,
think
and
it's
that's
an either or situation.
he was so proud of this rhyme though. Generally, they are harmless folks who have fun with each other in spite of the whips, belts, and ropes. Like, come on.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Do fetishes do other things? Fetishism can branch out into other things like leather fetishes, for example. Again, yeah, very focused on the thing.
Yeah.
Sadism, masochism begin to enter the picture. A fetishist who likes to wear leather clothes from his collection while he's being whipped by a girl who performs fellatio on him has crossed into a new territory. He's a full-fledged sexual masochist.
Full-fledged. Do you get a certificate?
If he forces her to perform fellatio, he is a sadist. Okay. Okay. Why sadist masochist? Because they frequently switch roles back and forth. Okay. Um, so then
I don't know
people
about
who
that one.
collect pornography, are they fetishists too?
God, what was porno like back then?
I
It's
don't know.
probably a lot of bushes, I think.
Magazines. Um,
No,
it says
bushes.
not
A lot of
necessarily.
big bushes.
The word pornography has its mind made up already. It comes from two Greek words, pornos, meaning dirty, and
Oh,
graphos, meaning words.
oh,
Oh, I didn't know that.
I
So
didn't know
dirty
that
word.
either.
The more you know. 1969 new.
They don't, the kids today, they just call it porn.
There's got paper cut. They just
But
call it porn, right?
in the old
Which
days, though, it was like, it was
which just
porno.
means dirty. Which just means dirty.
Did you
Um,
really just get a paper cut?
yeah, I did.
That was another topic of yours too, death by a
No,
thousand
it's
paper
death by
cuts.
1,000 paper cuts.
Everything's connected.
Mhm. Yes, in Japan, every newlywed couple, oh, it's talking about how does religion fit in? Every newlywed couple is given a richly illustrated book showing every imaginable variation of sexual activity. It's
Wait,
considered
what?
an honor to be the one who offers this gift and is traditionally placed under the couple's pillow to assure a memorable wedding night.
What is this book?
I've never heard this in my entire life.
What is this book of
I
which
don't
we
know.
speak?
It says in Japan, every married couples get this book under their pillow.
I want one.
I think I need to research what this is. Every
Yeah,
position.
we need to follow it. Is it like the Kama Sutra, but like in
It
Japan?
has to exist if everybody had it in 1969.
Okay, follow up for our
Mm-hmm.
Patreons. You can look up that book.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's move on then. Because it
Let's
goes
move
into porn
on.
quite a bit. And then it goes into like prostitution, sex work. Is it a terrible thing? There's four bullets. Do you want me to read these four bullets?
Yeah. What does Dr. Reuben say?
A lot of people seem to think so, but the facts don't necessarily bear out their emotions. The major objections to professional prostitution at the time, that was a pretty decent nod, usually fall in the following categories. Number one, prostitution spreads venereal disease. Number two, prostitution increases sex crimes. Number three, prostitution corrupts young people. Number four, prostitution is morally degrading. Based on the facts available, none of these criticisms seem to hold up. In the United States, which suppresses prostitution as vigorously as any country in the world, the rate of venereal disease hits new highs every week. In Mexico, the incidence of VD is much lower per capita in spite of, or perhaps because of, legal prostitution. Contrary to popular folklore, prostitutes are nearly, he just farted, nearly the source of venereal disease they are supposed to be. So, aren't most prostitutes infected with syphilis or gonorrhea? That's the way the story goes from moral educators, but that's really removed from practical knowledge. So okay.
I feel like he was ahead of his time there.
Yeah. Does it mean increase in crimes, sex crimes? It doesn't seem likely. In countries where the trade is legal, sex crimes are almost non-existent. If a dollar or so buys a willing companion, raping a stranger doesn't make sense.
I mean, in my opinion, a lot of the problems, if there are problems, would go away if sex work was legal. I think it's the illegality that makes it dangerous.
Right.
Physically dangerous.
Well, and I think too that it also makes like the healthcare part of it, like getting checked up and having access to healthcare where you don't have to be worried about reporting your job.
And you wouldn't have to maybe work on a dangerous street, have a pimp, all that.
Yeah, like
if it was legal and respectable in the community, then
if I could have an app where I upvote or downvote you based on how you treated me, and that's publicly seen.
Like the Yelp for hookers. I love it.
Yes. Yeah. We'll call it help.
And then the sex workers in return, I mean, it could be like an Uber system can rate the customers.
Right.
And if you get a bad rating, you aren't going to get anybody that wants to take care of you.
Right. Or you're going to get like, someone came in on their day off and they're kind of pissed off. Like, you may get that one. Maybe it's Susie. Susie's had a bad day. Okay. That was like the nicest name I could pick. I don't know. Talking about your names and how people are portrayed. Topic. Okay.
I don't think I've ever heard of a hooker named Susie. Just saying.
Me neither. I don't know. It's probably my own bias.
It's more like honey or candy or on the other side, I don't know who would be. What would a male hooker name be?
Vlad.
Vlad? I mean, I guess there's probably one out there.
I don't even know if that's a real name. Okay. Corruption of young people. Is it corruption?
How about Willie?
Willie? Willie Winker.
Willie Winky.
Yeah, Willie. Yeah, probably Willie. What about like Tom, Dick, and Harry? That's the thing, right? Okay. Anyways, call me. My name's Richard, but they call me Dick.
My name's Harold, but they call me Harry.
Right. Balls. I don't know. All right.
My name's Peter, and they call me Peter.
Oh, that's a good one. Hey, I'm Peter. No, but what's your stage name? Peter.
Peter.
What's your real name? Peter. Okay. Isn't prostitution degrading?
Is your dog just farting again?
No, that was a burp. That was a burp, actually. His farts are like long and prolonged, and I'm sitting there like, please stop. He's just grunting right now because he wants his peanut. Like a peanut.
Does he eat peanuts?
No,
No. He just
just
wants
taunting peanuts. Because it's like peanut butter once it's in my mouth and it smells so good. Okay, is it degrading? Certainly. We make it that way by
Oh my
looking
gosh, yes, Dr. Reuben.
by looking down on those who sell their sexual favors, by making them criminals, by shutting, I'm on the edge of my seat for this page turn, by shutting them off from the rest of society, we alienate them completely.
100%.
Some of the bitterness and contempt rubs off on the customers who are more than willing to pass it on to the lady of the evening. Lady of the evening. That's pretty good. It's a fact of life. And it's neither good nor bad. Indiscriminate sexual intercourse for money goes against our moral grain because we have been indoctrinated that way. Instead of complaining bitterly about the results of the problem, it might make more sense to go to the source. Like the old saying, how could an old saying in 1969? Let's see what that is. Sorry, he's discovered where my peanut shells are. If there wasn't the demand, there wouldn't be the supply. That still exists.
That's it.
It just shortened it.
I mean, I've heard another old saying that is the oldest profession in the world. I don't know if that's true or not. But yeah, I mean, honestly, if there wasn't a demand, there wouldn't be a supply.
Mm-hmm. So what causes demand? I'll just sum this up. Sex. Okay. All right. Anyways, now what section? Do we want to go to a different section?
Yeah. What were the sections again?
All right. We covered a lot in that one. Beyond birds and bees, male sexual organs, female sexual organs, sexual intercourse, aphrodisiacs, impotence, frigidity.
Aphrodisiacs.
Okay, 64.
Okay, before you start, here's like the urban legends that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Oysters.
Okay. I've heard that one too. Or like whipped cream. That gets talked about, like whipped cream, like
not an aphrodisiac, that's like a toy.
Okay.
Aphrodisiac, you like eat
Is
it,
it like
it's supposed to
something
make
that
you
makes
horny.
it sexual? Oh, okay.
Supposed to be,
Okay.
yeah, get all horned up.
I don't
So
know.
oysters, I've heard about a lot.
Alcohol?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, alcohol to a point. I think there's a like a happy medium with alcohol, too much, and
Oh,
then
that's true.
the opposite effect. And then you have
Right.
whiskey D, which applies to everyone, not just those with the D.
Derived from the word Aphrodite.
Hmm.
So, goddess of love designates something that increases sexual desire or excitement. Usually it refers to drugs such as Spanish fly.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what that is.
I mean I've only heard of it, but yeah.
Its meaning can also include sexually stimulating books or movies, even plastic surgery on sexual organs.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's I haven't heard of that. Okay. So let's hear. It says Macy has to put the puppy on the ground. Hey, get that back. All right. You're breaking my legs. He's so big now. No, sorry. You got a peanut shell.
He is really big. He's like fifth dupled in size since the last time I saw him.
Yeah, look at this thing. I can't even like lift him anymore.
Yeah, he's a big boy. He's like solid. And he still thinks he's a baby though.
He's a baby. He's a baby. Okay. Okay. Oh gosh, but like breaking my ribs on the way down. Sorry, my light's going all exorcist. Right?
No,
okay.
It looks super poltergeist.
Plastic surgery on the sexual organs. Is that super common? It says it's pretty common
It
in other parts
is?
of the world.
Huh.
More than 1 dozen operations in use today directed at overhauling the sexual apparatus to make sex more fun.
Interesting. I've heard of in modern times getting people wanting to get surgery on their labia to make it like smaller.
Oh, right.
But I don't
Like, but for visual.
know like if that necessarily is going to make your experience more pleasurable. I think it's more like about appearances.
Yeah, agreed. Um, I'm just trying to think of anything maybe like piercings. Like sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, back in the 90s, all my friends were getting crazy stuff down there, downtown,
Okay.
and just said it was wonderful.
Is that true? They said that.
I said it was wonderful, yeah.
I feel like you're committed to saying that it was wonderful at that point.
Well, it seemed like they were having fun. They seemed very happy.
Well, that's good. That's good. So I'm gonna skip the what are these operations like part.
I got in on it a little bit, but I took
Oh
mine
my
out
gosh,
because
no,
it
sorry,
never
I'm not
healed.
skipping. Sorry, what?
Then I got caught up in the 90s craze myself, and but I took mine out because it never healed.
Um, the Mayo Clinic had a
My
primitive
ex-husband and I
hacking.
thought it would be cute if we got our nipples pierced right before we got married.
Oh yeah, did he?
We both did at the same time.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
It wasn't the best timing idea.
that's fair. That's
And mine
fair.
never healed, so I took it out.
The Mayo Clinic had a primitive hacking performed with a piece of broken glass in the African jungle. One example, which falls midway between, is the Ampalong in South Asia, a do it yourself job. The sportier males of that area make several slits in the loose skin on the underside of the penis near the tip. The openings average about an eighth of an inch in diameter and run at right angles to the shaft. Just before, do not do this at home. Sorry, warning label, don't do anything we say ever, except if it's good. Just before intercourse, short rods are inserted into the slits perpendicular to the penis. These are usually scraps of copper wire, bits of ivory, or among the jet set, gold and silver. The purpose, obviously, is to enlarge the business end of the penis and increase its friction against the
The
vagina.
business end.
So they're like literally creating
A French tickler,
yeah, correct.
but
That.
whatever culture you just said.
What does the man get out of it? Certainly, there's no increased sensation for him. The only compensation for the sacrifice is the renewed popularity with the ladies.
Well, I mean, it might not be a sacrifice if there's enough payoff. When I was in 1989, I started college and I was in a biology class,
Mm-hmm.
and the teacher brought in a magazine. I think it was called American Primitive, but that might not be the name. But it was all this crazy body mod stuff that I had never seen like the likes of, and it still is like burned into my brain, like all those images because it was stuff I had never seen before. That our teacher was teaching us about. And one of them was somebody that on their own cut their penis into two penises. And
This is not worms. You do not now have two penises. You have one split penis.
well, he didn't die, so he was able to do the photo shoot and all that. Another thing in this I would love to like run across this magazine because it really was like instrumental in my development as a human to see this stuff. The other one that really sticks in my mind is a guy made, like a hoodie pouch in the front. You have like your little pocket, your pouch.
Oh, I love hoodie pouch pockets.
So he made one with his skin though. Like he made a little pocket in the
I feel like
front.
is like an origami demonstration is needed. Like I need to walk through a video that I can pause.
Well, this is just photos.
Oh,
Um, so he made his own little like hoodie pocket pouch on the front so he could, oh, put a banana in there while he's on a walk on the beach and, that kind of stuff.
did you know that like underwear exists? To each their own.
So that was my biology class. That's my takeaway from biology class. One of them was,
Okay.
wow, all this body mod stuff that I'd never been exposed to.
So then it goes into talking about things like sexual advantages of circumcision. Adds to sexual pleasure in many ways. First, a cheesy, bad smelling substance called smegma accumulates between the pubis and glands. The staggering odor of smegma is capable of canceling the world's most powerful aphrodisiacs. With the pubis gone, he must be Jewish, just by how he's talking.
I've
Wait,
never heard of that term, and I feel like I don't want to remember it.
prepuce
Megma?
gone? Oh, smegma.
That's one of those
Smegma.
words that like sounds like what it is, you know what I mean?
Smegma, like that's it.
Yeah.
Yep. Profuse and glands too. It's just like a lot of not great words. It says that with that gone, there's no place for the smegma to accumulate. Secondly, the nerve supply of the prepuce is insignificant compared with that of the glands itself. With the head of the organ site sensation uncovered, it then creates more sensation. Although the foreskin is designed to retract over the glands during intercourse, it is sometimes adherent and prevents total contact. And bacteria is created rapidly in the smegma, and infection of the head of the penis can occur.
I just don't want to hear
There is,
smegma anymore. I don't want to hear
and
about smegma.
this is some cultural stuff here too, because okay, I take it back. So he's very much talking about the benefits of circumcising over not circumcising, right?
Yeah, he is.
Last, least common and most terrifying cancer of the penis occurs only among uncircumcised men. The treatment for penile cancer is amputation of the penis.
Oh my God. I'd love to fact check that one.
Where's my phone? Okay, Google. Add it to the list. Okay, Google. No. Okay. Okay, Google. What is the treatment for penile cancer?
No, like, is it associated with?
You can get radiation on your dick.
Okay, so you don't have to just snip it.
Local excision, penoctomy, or radiation. Yeah. So again, this is his thing is you're gonna lose your penis if you don't get circumcised.
I mean, talk about like cautionary tale.
Right. Are women ever circumcised? Yes, but not as frequently. The clitoris, being a miniature version of a penis, also has its own mini prepuce. At one time, some doctors felt that a foreskin adherent to the clitoris was the major cause of female sexual difficulties. Thousands of women underwent circumcisions, better called mini circumcision, until it became obvious that there was little improvement. What? I've never heard of that.
I haven't either.
Okay, but
I don't think there's mini foreskin going on.
Okay, but where are the oysters? This is aphrodisiac.
Yeah, where are the oysters? I came
This
for
is
the
all
oysters.
about penis cutting and stuff. It's all very
I came for the
penis-centric.
oysters, and I'm leaving because of the fake clitoris foreskin that he's talking about.
Doesn't the vagina
really
stretch again with the next baby? Oh, wait. Oh my gosh, I just saw something. Everything's connected. Hold on.
Did you say something about oysters?
No. Because it goes, are women ever circumcised? And then the most sexual plastic surgery in this country is done on men, question mark? Not exactly. Women account for a hefty proportion of sexual reconstruction. Take, for example, the husband's knot.
Oh my God, I did a topic on that.
Most girls who give birth to their children in the hospital have an incision Ew, it just said most girls.
I know, I was about to say, did he actually say girls?
Hmm.
Barbara, you edited this?
No, she didn't edit it. She typed up the
What,
manuscript
without
like
an
a good
opinion?
1969 receptionist would.
Ugh, with no opinion. I mean, maybe she
Like,
had stated an opinion, but it didn't matter.
mhm, Barbara. All right. So, but what's she gonna do? Argue with the doctor?
Her doctor husband?
Her doctor husband, who probably
Probably
did
not.
this on her himself.
Barbara, how was your sex life really? I want to know.
Ah, sorry, dropping my phone everywhere. Okay. I had to see the fact that ugh, gross. No. The soda that was just purchased was grape soda, and I'm not a grape soda fan, and that just cannot be no. Yuck, grape. That's my response. Yuck, grape. Do you drink grape soda?
I don't drink soda.
Yeah, grape soda. Okay. So that has been not. Most girls give birth to their children in the hospital. They have an incision made in the vagina called an episiotomy. This is to prevent the baby's head, relatively large in comparison to the small vaginal opening, from overstretching and tearing the delicate tissue. After delivery, the mother is left with a gigantic, gaping vaginal
Oh my
entrance.
God, those words!
Those
Dr.
words are
Reuben,
succession.
can you please not use the words gigantic or gaping about somebody's vaginal canal?
Vaginal entrance.
WTF. I take back all my compliments. That just negated everything.
The doctor immediately sets to work repairing the incision by sewing the cut edges of tissues together. The whole procedure takes about 5 minutes. If the doctor is also sexually knowledgeable, he takes another minute and adds a
Oh
little plastic
my God.
surgery. He carefully gauges the size and locations of the stitches so that besides closing the wound, he takes up almost all the slack in the vagina
Slack again. Come on.
caused by years of intercourse, as well as the pressure of the baby's head plunging through. In 60 seconds, he can restore most of the vital spaces to its precopulatory dimensions. He tops it off with a special super secure non-raveling knot, known affectionately as the husband's knot.
Okay, yeah, a little something for daddy. Please listen to our topic that is called the husband stitch, and you will hear
Right.
all about
Which
this.
was like from the research and all that, and now you're hearing it from the horse's mouth. He did this,
Please listen
he did
to our
this.
topic. It's called the husband stitch. Please, please, please.
Doesn't the vagina stretch again with the next baby? Certainly, but as long as the doctor is there with his needle and sutures, neither husband nor wife will know the difference. Everything will fit like a glove or better.
Ah, fucking patriarchy.
So the next one is, what if this doctor doesn't do this little operation? You want to hear what their assumptions are?
What? It's like the Texas
Justification.
tunnel.
The vagina will continue to stretch more and more
Oh my God.
birth and childbirth until it's no longer firmly gripping the penis during
Which is
intercourse.
the most important thing, obviously. Dr.
Hey,
Reuben.
welcome. Give me back my body shampoo, body wash. Why is that in here? Okay. He's carrying around my body wash in his mouth. Okay.
Do you need
So
to like get it from him so he
oh
doesn't
my
see?
gosh, the next sentence, the poor penis, dwarfed by the massive
Ah,
vagina,
no.
flounders aimlessly within its former home.
Listen, Dr. Reuben, you can take your floundering, lost penis and get the fuck out. That is so offensive.
It also develops the unhappy characteristic of flopping out of the most inopportune
Well, maybe
moments.
you
This
should
sounds
have a
like
bigger
personal
D.
experience.
And like, why are we putting the blame on the vag? Like, this whole thing.
I know he was going some right directions, then he went bad real fast.
You did.
He said Fortunately, years ago, a sympathetic surgeon devised a suitable cure.
Who was a
The
man.
anterior and posterior plastic repair, the AP repair for short. Simple, effective. The husband's not. It's more extensive than the husband's not. The vagina is reinforced, reconstructed, and reoriented. That's fine if the vagina
Reoriented.
is too big. What about something for a vagina that's too small? A vagina that's really too small is very rare
Wait,
indeed.
but let's be sure though, these size categories, too big, too small, they're saying that in relation to a penis. So
It just
there
that
is no
penis that's the same size on
actual
every man.
like too big, too small. This is a relationship thing that we're talking about here.
I just got a message. Mistakes were made. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Okay. I'm so upset. I'm taking it out on other people for their grape sodas. So can I just restate the sentence? I think you missed it. A vagina that's really too small is very rare indeed. Usually the
So what he's really saying, and the subtext is,
you can never be too small. And then
oh, Dr. Reuben and Babs. I feel like Babs is complicit in this.
All right. Usually the difficulty is simply an undersized entrance, or most often the hymen is to blame. Oh, because she's a virgin.
To blame? Why are we even using the word blame?
Mm-hmm. That small bit of tissue that stands guard at the gates of love sometimes just does its job too well. Even the most determined midnight battering by a nervous and sweaty bridge room is occasionally insufficient, and it won't yield. What?
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 What are we saying
here? The following morning, the tearful bride and red-faced groom appear at the doctor's office.
Red-faced groom?
The scalpel is mightier than the penis, and in a flash, the gleaming knife portal swings open. Natural defect undone by man.
Defect? I don't like these words.
I don't like these words this man says.
I just don't like any of these words that have been used in this section.
Okay, so I'm going to pick just like a couple more small things out of here, and then we're going to move on. Aren't there some causes where the vagina is really too small, though? Very rare. The vagina is either too big enough, or isn't there at all.
What?
Nowadays, there's even help for girls who are born without any vagina. These unfortunate young ladies have a rare deformity, which leaves them with a short, blind pouch.
I don't like these words, unfortunate, and what was the other word?
Rare deformity?
Deformed. Yeah, I don't like those words.
Short, blind
it's a natural variation, and maybe these people are intersex.
Mm-hmm.
There's might
utilizing an ingenious procedure, a man-made but sexually serviceable vagina can be
sexually serviceable, because the most important thing we need to ensure is that a man can put his ween inside.
So I feel like I hope actually that people listen to this episode and then listen to episode 69
and the husband stitch one,
and then put in the husband stitch. There's so many relevant ones for this.
And maybe our episode on was it the hysterical one? Hysterectomy, not hysterectomy. Hysteria. Yeah.
Yeah. So, oh my God, how about breasts? The best known of the breast revisions is the silicone injection operation. I didn't know that was a thing back then.
Wow, it was probably like really unhealthy.
Oh my gosh. This technique devised was for making mountains out of molehills.
Oh.
There you go. That's probably the first time that was ever said. Earlier operations used similar things, such as plastic sponges and fluid-filled plastic bags.
Are those people still with us? Probably not.
Unfortunately, they were sooner or later rejected by the body.
They're filling their breasts with sponges?
rejected by the body, and the poor girl was left worse off than when she came in. The latest attempt of a breast manship consisted of pumping those organs full of silicone
Well,
foam
I
under
hope that
pressure.
that person wanted the surgery themselves and weren't pressured by a partner that wanted bigger boobs or something. Sponges? I'm just picturing those like Scotch-Brite ones with like yellow on one side, green
Oh
on
my,
the other.
I'm sorry. Okay. What about the girls with oversized breasts? It's either feast or famine. There is a sizable group of women who are dismayed because of their breasts are too large. Now there's even help for those in over endowed lovelies.
Lovelies. Oh, valuing. We're value. You see the value statement?
Yep, we are going to. Hey, welcome. Stop it. You just look what you did to me. We're in the dark now.
Welcome.
I can't read in the dark.
So definitely a value statement over big boobs compared
Well,
to.
yeah, and like these silly women that want to make their breasts smaller, probably because they have extensive back pain. Um, okay, so he says, first of all, it's a little unsettling. He wants to warn you. Um, First, the nipples are cut off and set aside in saline solution. Then a large portion of the fatty tissue of the breast is excised along with a certain amount of skin. The nipples are retrieved from their jar, reattached, and everything is sewn up. Carefully done. The main giveaway is a thin scar, barely visible even in a topless waitress.
In a topless waitress? That's his
Yeah,
example?
that's his example.
Not just like a regular person that
No, a
wants a
topless
reduction
waitress is the
for
example of this medical
whatever
doctor.
personal reason they have. Oh my gosh.
Right. I told you.
What a topless waitress? Was that like popular back then?
Okay, so what are the real aphrodisiacs? It's like Spanish fly. What's
Thank
okay.
you.
Spanish fly, strangely enough, is simply a Spanish fly. Almost actually, it's made of small, shiny iridescent in southern France and Spain. The bodies of these insects are dried, pulverized, and the chemical is extracted. It's called cantharidin. Cantharidin. Then supposedly the real fun begins. All one has to do, according to the stories, is slip a few drops into your girlfriend's drink.
What? We're roofing them? I thought this was like somebody choosing to take something to enhance their sexual experience. This is a whole nother thing now that we're talking about.
No matter how cold she has been to you in the past, she'll be transformed instantly into an insatiable sex
Is
maniac,
he
begging you to quench her pelvic fires.
is he saying that it's okay for a man to undrug somebody so that
Yeah,
her pelvic fires can be quenched? Is that what we're saying?
that's what he said.
It's horrible.
Okay, but what he said, that's all a nice story. Here's a
Oh,
more likely version. 10 minutes after drinking the love potion, so he's fine with that part. The girl collapses into convulsions. She goes to the hospital, and Casanova goes to the clink. If she lives, 50-50 chance he gets off lightly. If she dies, it's murder second.
wow. I don't think it's
I
that
mean,
easy.
I'm still not okay with anything he said.
I'm not okay with any of it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then how does it work for animals? What?
So it's just Spanish fly. There's nothing else. No oysters. No.
During the
I don't
Victoria
know.
era, they said that prairie oysters, so Victorian era prairie oysters.
The fuck's a prairie oyster?
Oh, oh, this was a euphemism for bull testicles. Since they contained a fair dose of male sex hormone, eaten absolutely fresh, absolutely raw, they might have done some good.
Have I
Apparently, in those days,
misunderstood all along? And I thought it was regular oysters from the sea, and really it was an oyster from Montana?
a prairie oyster during the Victorian era.
Okay, well,
I guess so. I wonder if
I
that's
have
just
more
something that
questions
has
than
like
answers.
mentally changed over time, like playing telephone.
Mhm. Anything
Um,
else? Because I feel like there's other things that people say to eat.
oh, how about some Oriental cures
That
like
word's not offensive.
like powdered rhino horns?
There you go.
That too was based on the like male principle, or sorry, like make like principle. You can almost visualize a
Did you just
poor
cross
Chinese.
yourself?
I, I it says a poor Chinese person. Like
What?
those are the
What's
words.
happening?
Daydreaming if my penis only looked like the horn of a rhinoceros.
So we're completely discounting Eastern medicine and making
And
fun of
saying
it.
that and going to uh stigma about small penises. Obviously,
Uh,
obviously, if he gazed at the opposite end of the rhino, he would see the beast had something else going for him. Strangely enough, among Chinese believers, the demand for the rhino horn has so outstripped the meager supply that most of the product reaching the market is powdered boar tusk or pig bone. There is, however, one Chinese remedy that may have something to do with it. In Chinese, it's known as gulai sam. We call it ginseng.
oh,
Prepared according to a strict recipe, it has helped many users.
I had ginseng tea this morning.
Lovely. Does it really work? The mind is a dominant effect on sexual performance. If a person thinks the remedy works, it does. Ginseng is typical. The most powerful form, according to the Chinese, is the variant in which the whole root is shaped like a little man. Again, like makes like. The only way to be sure is to try.
Interesting.
So weird. Okay. Um,
I mean, it does seem
yo,
like he's really saying it's psychosomatic
right. Yo, yeah, or
and
like
not real
a
medicine, which
what's
is
it called?
so
A
insulting.
placebo. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so insulting to people that believe
And he's
this
like, just try
medicine.
it. Yeah. Um, what about the drug called yohimbine from the African yohimbe tree?
Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Have you? It's used countless times. It has never worked. However, there's another 19th century compound of it, better known as scrychin, rat poison. Correct. This drug in small amounts kills by making the victim's nervous system sensitive to the slightest stimulation.
What?
Death usually comes from exhaustion.
What is he saying? And he's
I
not
don't
citing
know.
any studies, also, you notice.
Oh, there's no citations anywhere in this
Yeah,
book.
like this is all his own opinions. There's no
Is there
study.
anything that works? Obvious reasons. The official story, for obvious reasons, is that no such thing exists. That is almost true, but not quite. Apparently, the guardians of the public morals, mostly self appointed, feel that if ordinary people get their hands on a good aphrodisiac, they will turn out genteel society into one big orgy. Or perhaps they're afraid of the seduction of innocence.
And
There are
that's
three
not because
effective
why?
aphrodisiacs. Okay, he's going to list three effective ones per him.
Okay.
Okay, and they're all illegal. There is a fourth, which is a poor substitute. Predictably, it's legal, cheap, and widely used. Alcohol. In spite of all the pious talk, alcohol being a terrible depressant, it's simply a tranquilizer. That being said, it works in the sexual department too. Fear is the enemy of sexual stimulation. I mean, I see that side. I also see the other side of it. But
Yeah, I
okay.
think there's a window. If you stay in the window, it could help you get over inhibition, whatever. But you cross that line and then nobody's having fun.
Ask anyone to make mad love with a jealous husband knocking at the door. Alcohol calms all fears.
Wait, what?
Ask anyone who's tried to make mad love with a jealous husband knocking at the door.
So we're saying, hey, wives, get drunk and cheat on your husband?
Like, how do you do that with him? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Weird.
weird.
A true aphrodisiac is testosterone acting on the entire body. Of course, there's a catch. In men, it results in atrophy of the testicles. In women, it causes masculinization. The clitoris enlarges, hair appears on the face, and the voice deepens.
Yeah.
The other two are fascinating drugs. The first is marijuana.
Marijuana? What?
Marijuana, one of its most powerful effects, and the one which is downplayed publicly, is sexual arousal. Intense sexual fantasies heightened by sexual desire and increased sexual sensation are reported by those who use the drug.
Interesting.
Well, that is interesting, isn't it? Because uh because that's not something I would commonly hear.
Well, I'm trying to think back to when I used to smoke weed all the time, and I mean, it's so long ago, I honestly I can't give you a case study because I don't remember.
I would just get paranoid. So I get like anxious and like.
Well, I went through a whole phase, like high school, that I loved smoking weed. Oh my God, it was the best. Like everything was better, but I don't remember sex specifically, so I can't speak to that.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to do some meditation. Maybe I can bring back a repressed memory.
Right. Okay. There's a little marijuana talk. Okay, the last one is LSD.
Oh,
It's the toughest, has multiple effects. If it will help them to get more pleasure out of sex, why wouldn't people be allowed to use LSD and marijuana? So then he kind of goes into like the moralistic restrictions. There's bona fide scientific research. If these drugs were carefully studied and understood, it'd be possible that it could benefit everyone. How's that?
I think that would be really, 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 really bizarre.
Well,
To have sex
they're doing it like with
while you're
mushrooms.
tripping.
Oh, I
don't
just
know
have
if
never
things
done
would
LSD.
function in that way.
I don't know. I
I
barely
want
know how to function now.
to know more.
I mean, that's kind of where that ends. Says it is one of the ironies of life that the drug which we are allowed, even encouraged to use, alcohol, is a powerful destructive force in our society.
Okay, okay. He doesn't
Okay.
mention cocaine, which
Mm-hmm.
that I've heard lots of stories that can enhance your experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Okay,
cocaine wasn't out that yet. No, it was. I think cocaine was around then.
I'm sure. So I feel like we have to do the frigidity.
Okay. And then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like I
I
need
feel
to
like I'm
at
gonna
least,
get angry.
I know, but I don't want him to tell me about my female organs either. So
Yeah.
okay, that would be on page 101. Frigidity is the word used to describe impaired sexual feeling in women. It covers the entire range of substandard sexual response from total
What?
avoidance of sexual contact to an occasional missed orgasm.
Okay. Second sentence in, I'm ready to throw shit around the room. Substandard response. Okay, maybe you aren't doing good, Mr. Man. And
Isn't it
occasional missed
episode
orgasm.
69?
I'm betting the ones that you think are happening probably aren't happening.
Episode 69. Why is that? It shows a certain lack of understanding of a woman's sexual makeup by confusing, or sorry, the word frigidity is a misleading one and is probably coined by a man. This one we flipped the script. Okay.
100% it was coined by a man.
It shows a certain lack of understanding of women's sexual makeup by confusing a symptom with a disease. Inability to respond sexually is not a way of life that any woman chooses for herself. It is imposed on her by conditions beyond her control. Okay, we'll see where this goes. Besides, the word already has its mind made up. Frigid means cold, which implies deliberately rejecting. That may not be true at all. Perhaps a better term would be orgasmic impairment.
Would a better term be a man that doesn't know what he's doing also? Or a woman that isn't comfortable or doesn't know how to communicate or maybe
And
isn't self-aware about
he
needs.
says more important, it does not prejudge the situation and assign blame. So I give him credit here for at least
He's
trying
trying.
in that era
He's
to
like,
do
okay, Babs is reading this. I gotta
right.
be on my best behavior.
So what are the different forms of frigidity? As you
Show us,
can,
Dr. Reuben.
like impotence, orgasmic impairment ranges all the way from undeniable and obvious sexual failure to the more subtle manifestations, which may masquerade presumably over sex. The basic problem in orgasmic impairment is the brain and vagina are not reliably connected. It's like a telephone with loose wires. Sometimes the line goes dead.
He's really trying to say something is broken or damaged here. In the
Mm-hmm. A woman afflicted with this condition has renounced all interest in sex and things sexual.
maybe
She,
not.
she's misunderstood by her family and friends and relegated to the social shadows as a frustrated old maid. Title she certainly doesn't deserve. Total orgasmic impairment is a serious emotional problem and deserves to be treated. Like, okay, I hear you, Reuben. However, I don't agree with you still, but I hear you.
That whole concept of the old maid is so offensive.
Well, and that's like been around a long time.
Right. I mean, I think even today, people that choose to be single or whatever are there's
Or
still
not
like
have
a
kids.
question,
Like,
like why?
mm-hmm,
Like people have to justify a personal decision
mm-hmm,
like that.
yeah. Okay.
After my grandmother got divorced from my grandfather, she never dated again, as far as I know. I mean, maybe she did stuff that I wasn't aware of, but there was nothing that was out in the open, and that was her choice.
Mm-hmm.
I think she was like one and done, like fuck that.
Right. Well, there's a whole lot about relationships that are weird. Um, it says like every other emotional problem, it has its roots in the victim's past. No psychiatrist has ever seen a woman with this condition who is raised by loving parents in a warm, secure family environment.
Here's the
Okay.
blame.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the shame. There's something wrong with you, and that's why you're acting this way.
Yep. Their adult behavior often appears to be unconscious means of perpetuating a coldness and isolation that they experienced in childhood. A lot of
Probably from
things,
their mom or something,
a
it's
lot
always
of
blame the mom.
a lot of things had to happen to turn a happy 5-year-old Muppet into a cynical, withdrawn 40-year-old spinster. Excuse me?
Did you say Muppet?
Yeah. Stop eating things. Stop eating things.
I guess I didn't realize Muppet was a word outside of the Jim Henson scene.
Like
Like
I've
there
heard it
was
used like an
a
insult.
Muppet was a thing you'd call a person, a term you'd call a person. It wasn't just like, hey, it's Fuzzy Bear.
I've heard someone called a Muppet before as like an insult. Um I just disagree.
I
Um
disagree wholeheartedly.
yeah, let's see. Okay, this last no. uh as long as she has the desire to come to grips with her condition and try to overcome it, treatment is worthwhile. Of course, as the patient gets older, there's less and less time to enjoy whatever results are obtained. But on occasion, women in their 50s or 60s improve so much with psychiatric treatment that they marry for their first time. Orgasmic impairment can also affect those who are just stepping over the sexual threshold.
Okay. Well, good to know there's hope for those that are in their 50s that they can still go on and have an orgasmic life.
First, they're okay, so it says Every 30 years or so, our society goes through a so-called sexual revolution.
Oh,
Young people finally tire of sexual restraints imposed on them by their old-fashioned parents and teachers. Instead of being held captive by the obsolete morality of the establishment as avowed sexual freedom fighters, they shake off their bonds and surge towards liberty. Unfortunately, they overlook two things. First, their stodgy parents did exactly the same thing years before. They called it the Roaring Twenties. The grandparents also slipped their sexual bonds. The days were known as the gay 90s.
okay. So 30 years after 69, that'd be 79, 89, 1999. I don't think we went through a sexual revolution then.
No, it would be backwards. He didn't live that during this is what wasn't published then. It would have been he's talking even.
Right, but if his here theory holds true, it would continue every 30
Oh,
years.
I see.
And
Right.
there's nothing in 1999.
Um, was grunge music a thing?
Uh, well, I mean, it's sort of like
Glad.
the end. That was more like early 90s.
Okay. So it says basically it's a sociological problem and tends to work itself out. A very securely married 40-year-old mother succeeding in imposing her own code of conduct on her 20-year-old daughter would be a much less interesting world. Fortunately, mothers don't succeed. Moreover, 20 years from now, the daughter, by then a mother herself, will be trying to do the same thing with her daughter. He just talked about a 20-year-old having a daughter. That's
Interesting. I mean, yeah, you can, but that's not the norm now.
mm-mm,
That's not typical now
mm-mm.
at all.
Okay. Um,
Well,
yeah.
okay, Dr. Reuben. I mean, I can see, like, for the time, I think he was trying to be edgy, go out on a limb a little bit.
Right.
And being non-pathologizing, but, he's still caught in his time.
Nymphomaniacs.
Oh, fuck.
But are some okay. Um, that's what we'd like to think. No woman wants to admit that the sole reason for playing musical bed, changing partners as soon as the music stops, is her lack of sexual satisfaction. The role of glamorous, insatiable siren is much easier to play, if not to live with. Some of the best acting in this country is done on the Broadway stage, but in a motel bedroom. Shrieking, gasping, clutching, moaning are sometimes the way of saying, this is what I want, not what I really feel. Orgasms among nymphomaniacs are as rare as orgasms among prostitutes, but both groups know how to project an image. The nymphomaniac needs a reputation for being good in bed to assure her a steady supply of men in her search for a penis that pleases.
Interesting. Why is it just women that are into sex like that?
No, this is
I
still under the
always,
stupidity
oh,
sections.
okay. I always thought nympho could apply to anybody. I never realized it was
I
just
mean,
supposed to
this
apply to
from the
women.
doctor's mouth,
Okay.
horse's mouth, yeah. Um,
Anybody could be like
in spite of her conscious
that's good.
desire for intercourse, she wants nothing to do with the penis. Vaginismus may be the result. In this symptom, the lips of the mouth may be saying yes,
Vaginismus.
yes, but the lips of the vagina are shouting no. And with that, we will end everything you've always wanted to know about sex, but we're afraid to ask. Bye.
And that
Sorry, not even by. Explained. It says
oh, explain. Thank you, Dr. Rubin, for mansplaining
explained.
to us.
Literal
And
mansplaining.
I'm glad the lips of the vagina are speaking so clearly and loudly to him.
Yep, it's just so good. Oh, I just can't.
You have to keep that book forever.
At this times I just want to flip open a random page and say, are nuns allowed to take birth control pills? I may just want to read that.
You may want to know, but you were afraid to ask.
I was afraid to ask that. I haven't
Answers at your fingertips.
right there. All right. There you go. That's my topic, I guess.
I love it. And until next time, I think consider, yes, we've come far, but Also, we haven't.
I know. Yeah. It's like, it's really upsetting to me how, like, it's kind of, I honestly feel like we're in the exact same place. It's just different words
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
and more like him saying, that, patting the doctors on the back for the stitch versus now it's like, hey, do you want that done? Okay. Like it's just the more like the good old boys club sort of deal.
It still exists. Yeah, definitely. We're still in a patriarchy.
Until next time, daddy stitch your mouth and we'd be good.
Bye.
Oh, I can't.